It's time for another Dice Tower review with the Chief, Bart Brunsheen.
It's the Chief with the Dice Tower Firefly game. Hello, brown coders. All right, this one's out of the black. This is Toy Vault. The designer's name, which you will not find on the box, is Ed Byron. Ed Bryan. Sorry, Ed. Yeah, it's in small print on the back of the rule book. So put them on the box, Toy Vault. Co-op game. 3 to 5 players, but you got to do special rules for 3. So everything's kind of in the rules, or 4 to 5 players. Plays at about 30 to 45 minutes. And I want to hedge back from saying co-op. We'll get into this a little bit. I'm going to call it maybe co-op light. Kind of like a trick-taking game is cooperative. And I'm going to explain that in a bit. But let's go look at some cards and some pieces, and it'll take you back to the lovely show Firefly. Fox, how could you cancel such a show? Let's go take a look. All right, here's our general setup. I've got it set up for 4 players. Captain Malcolm Reynolds, we got Jane, we got Wash, we got Kaylee, we got Nora, River Tam, Book. I wish he had his crazy hair. Of course, we got everybody on here. Zoe, Doctor. Real quick, I'll show you the key thing for these guys is going to be their fighting skill, their flying skill, and their thinking skill. Now on this card down here, which you can't read, I'll read one off later, it's a one-time use ability. And then they've got, during the prospect phase, you can either use your credits. They're a pool of common credits for everybody. These are the credits. These are the honor tokens. You can use them to usually help people get cards or whatnot. And then there's some things that she can do also in the aftermath phase. We'll go in and take a closer look at these later. That's really the heart of it is these here. And then just this stuff here that helps you get more cards or do some special stuff. You have this job deck right now for 4 players. You have 8 jobs that you're going to have to go through. That's going to be 8 game phases or 8 game turns, then the game's over. You've got a pretty decent deck of job cards, so you never quite know what you're going to be seeing. The art is on there, that is all from the show, not the movie. Hello, that's what got them in trouble. And then this little grid down here, I'll go in and show you a little bit closer. That's really the heart of how you're going to pass the job. These are honor tokens. These are credit tokens. At the end of your 8 jobs, if you've survived, you're going to subtract any alliance cards that you've collected. It usually means you did very poorly on a job. You're going to subtract them from the combined total of your honor and your credit tokens. And then they have a sliding scale. I mean, technically you've won if you finish the jobs, but for them, if you've done really awesome, you're going to have 11 or more tokens compared to the number of alliance cards you've taken. So again, it's an everyone wins as long as we complete all of the jobs that are in our job deck. We all lose if we've depleted all our credit tokens or all our honor tokens, or if we draw the last card remaining in the alliance deck. All right, my apologies for the change in lighting and slight setup. Turns out when I went into editing, I found out my mic either failed or was off during a large portion. What I'm going to show you real quick here, I want you to notice Malcolm Reynolds here. Notice these little stars next to his fighting, flying, and thinking ability. Those mean that when he plays his Serenity cards to help out with the jobs, he'll actually get to play face up. You'll notice River Tam here, no stars. Every card she adds in to complete a job will be face down. Turn order goes, you start with a prospect phase. Only the leader is going to be doing something in that phase, and the leader is just the person whose turn it is. There's a few cards that'll change that up, but just know if it's your turn, you're the leader. In the prospect phase, the leader can do their special ability. So Mal's special ability, game ability, is done during the prospect phase, and it's draw to a starting hand size, then give 3 of those cards to any other player. His starting hand size is 5. Getting cards and having enough cards to play is huge. Now again, you can only use that once. And if he did not want to use his special ability, I'll bring this up again. He can then use these little honor or credit abilities. I'll put this down so I'm not shaking it all over the place. Honor or credit, you can basically spend a credit to get a card. You can kind of do the same thing with honor. It's slightly different for each individual. And you can also sometimes do stuff like spend 3 credits and it'll fill up other players' cards. Again, those kind of change a little bit per person. When you move into the job phase, first thing you're going to do is you're going to take a job, you're going to flip it over, and first you're going to notice I keep saying art, but it's really just screenshots from the show. The key on this is number 1, this is a single player job. This is an aspect that sometimes keeps me from enjoying some parts of the game. A single player job means that just the leader is going to be on this, so everybody else is just going to be watching. They may have some Serenity cards that let them kick in a little bit of help if they're not part of a job, but it's kind of a minor role. Now, that being said, a single player job is easier to achieve because what you're going to be trying to do is match the 3 fighting, 4 flying, 3 thinking. You're going to record that right here as I've done on this, and let me zoom in on it so you can kind of see that little chart. As you pledge in, especially in a single player, I would just look through, or a single job, I would just look through my deck and decide what I'm going to pledge in. If I pledge in this 1 thinking card, I'm going to move thinking up 1. Same deal, flying's going to go up 2, fighting would go up 1. This is one of those that if someone else again, also pay attention, this is during the job phase. But this is add 1 thing to a job in which you are not participating. So this is where other players could just, kick in this card and say, hey, here, we're going to help out a little bit, bump you up on thinking. And another job phase, treat any fighting boost cards as wild boost cards. Can be really good if you know you're going to be able to cover the fighting skill, but you'll be able to move it to wild so you can then bump up anything that you want. In order to pass the job, I'm going to have to reach all these goals. If I pass all 3 goals on a job, in this case, I'm going to get +1 credit, +2 honor. This is just your choice. You get to choose which area you want to go up or down in for your credits or your honor. And then this row over here is alliance cards you have to draw. So if I don't pass any of them, I'm going to get -2 credit, -1 honor, and I'm going to have to draw 2 alliance cards, which are really bad. And remember, the alliance cards are going to subtract from your total honor and credits at the end of the game if you manage to get all your jobs done, and that's going to end up hurting you and keeping you from having a very good score. I'll show a few more jobs. Here's a 2-player job. Again, the bar fight, yes. So you can see 5, 6, and 5 on their thinking. You can see what happens if they don't achieve those goals. I'll show you a 3-player job. Hello, War Stories. It had to be in there. Nishka, you bad, bad man. And a 4-player job. And again, 4 players in a 4-player game would mean everybody's individual character is going to be involved in this job. And you can see the scores are the numbers you got to hit to get your goal go up. So now it's 13, 7, 6. A real nice deal. You see if you get all 3 done, you're just going to get 3 of your choice. So you'd be able to jump up your money, your credits, or your honor. When you do have a job that requires more than 1 person, the leader, whoever the leader is that turn, gets to pick whoever's going to be on their team for that action. And that's all based on the cards. Wash has a great flying ability. You might want to choose a player that's kind of like Mao that is able to play their cards face up, so you just know if you're going to achieve it or not. So there's where some gameplay comes in on who you're going to choose. You may pick a player that has a lot of cards, Serenity cards stashed. There might be a better player to take with you, Jane with his great fighting ability, but he may have no cards, so you know he's not going to give you too much help. The leader will play his cards or actions down, and then they call them partners, will play all their cards or actions, and then you're going to move to the aftermath phase. In the aftermath phase, you're going to draw one of these Goramic cards. These are bad things. So my Serenity cards have been played in order to help out. I've played in a thinking card and whatever else, and I've moved all my little areas up, and I'm thinking I'm doing pretty good at this point in time. And then these little Goramic cards come in, all right, and this is going to add a +1 fighting, +1 flying, and thinking to the required amount for this job. You can see you might draw Yosef Bridge. So it's just, this isn't quite as bad as all of that action there. War stories. But it's still not good. And then you've got some Goram Reavers coming in. You can see what that's going to do. Then you're going to do an interesting thing with your Serenity cards. So remember, everybody's got their hand of Serenity cards that they're going to be playing to add into the jobs, at least those that are primarily on it. But I didn't reference these kind of little subtle numbers down here, because what happens next is you're going to be drawing from a deck, and these are going to add first to your fighting skill. So I'm going to add 2. I'm ignoring the rest of all of this, and all we're doing is this. So we're going to go up 2 on the fighting skill. Then we're going to go to the flying skill. I got 2 there. All right, then we draw this, and again, we're ignoring all of this text. It's going to go up 0 on the thinking. So this is a random element. It's always 0, 1, 2, or 3 that you're going to be sliding up or down on. You just don't know where you're going to get the help. It's at that point, if you've had any wild bonuses, that's what this is recording down here. There's some cards that are wild, and there's some text cards that let you change certain, like it may say all fighting cards will be logged in as wild. So at this point, you can now assign all your wild cards to help you hopefully get up to whatever your goals were. At that point, you either pass or fail, and we're right back to this business down here of determining, did you get any of the goals, 1, 2, or 3? The little pictures here don't matter. It's just 1, 2, or 3. The final thing you move into is what they call the cool down phase. If you weren't involved in the job, you can discard one of the cards you don't like, one of your Serenity cards, and then you can draw a new one. Or keep all your cards but spend an honor token and just get a new card. So a card costs an honor token. And remember, these honor and credit tokens combined together, 1, you don't want to run out of them, you lose. Or 2, how well you do depends on how many of those you accumulate. So the cards are very hard to come by. I'm going to show you some alliance cards. When you roll one over, sometimes they're going to be an immediate effect. In this case, you're going to randomly choose one completed job, and you're going to shuffle it back into the job deck. So again, in a 4-person game, I think we have 8 jobs. You win when you get through all those jobs, so recycling one in is not good. Alliance card that's going to affect your next job. If 1 or less successes are achieved in the next job, the players lose the game. So you can just see the alliance cards are, if you're forced to draw them, they're just piling on and making things harder and harder and harder. I love Firefly. Okay, I love it. And Nathan Fillion, I like what you do, sir. You're great, and I loved you in this role, Captain Mal. Okay, so you can see I love Firefly. I love it. The game, I'm going to tell you, is the theme is present. You've seen the roles. If you've got Wash, you're going to be a better flyer when it comes to passing that skill level. Jane is a fighter, but it's light and thin on its veneer. I'm going to throw out Firefly, the board game. I'm not a fan of pick up and deliver, but that's what Firefly is. But I want other implementations, so please keep them coming. However, the cooperative nature of this one, kind of the physicality of it, throws me a little bit. When I have a cooperative game, I want to be able to not have an alpha gamer, but actively work the problem with the people at the table. I want to feel like we're all in it. When I play this one, you can't really say, hey, I'm going to be able to put in 2 flight cards, or I got a couple wild cards, or hey, I'm throwing in a card that's going to allow Wash, who's not in this with us, to include his flying ability, so don't waste your cards on it. And I know it needs to be there, because took it out at one point. I played a game, and about halfway through, I was like, all right, we're going open information here, all right? You don't show me your cards, but, we got to pass this check, and I've got this I'm throwing in. What do you have? What do you have? We played the game the rest of the way that way. And we whooped it. That was part of the problem. Is I do think it's going to be you're breaking the system with all that open information, and you'll just beat it. So I get it. The card play rules set up or work with the mechanics and make the game work. It's just not the kind of co-op game I like. So I've already stated it, no need to overstate it. Other than that, it works nicely. It feels a little bit more like a filler that goes 35 to 40 minutes, and that's a little bit much for me in a filler, and I don't like the restriction on the teams. I even played a 2-player game, and it's not set up for a 2-player game, and we each just took different individuals. But again, then you kind of had that open information, and I kind of knew a little bit of what was being thrown in, and it made it fairly easy to beat. It was still enjoyable. I'm not saying I'd go to it all the time. And it brought back my Firefly feelings. You see Sun Tzu mentioned, and you got another card with some art that's from, oh my gosh, it's my favorite one. I can't remember. The one where Mal and Wash are strapped and getting tortured by Ezra. War Stories. Hello? Yes. All right. Love it. And you see the art, and I'm going, and I had to even go watch the show on Netflix that night. So it's there, it's present, it's a fun romp in the Firefly realm. It's a lighter veneer, but you're going to be in and out of it quicker. And as long as your group likes that trick-taking feel of cooperation, in other words, gosh, I hope he knows and he's reading kind of what we need to do here. But you don't even know what cards I might have in my hand, so just chuck them in. I also don't like that if I want to spend honor or credits, that I just take it. The rules say you just take it out, nobody can stop you, and I understand that, but I'd be like, dude, we're going to lose if you take all those credits. Okay. So, but maybe, throw it in there. So there you go. Sorry, I'm rambling. Firefly.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.